Good evening, Coaching You For You family. Thank you and welcome back. My name is Annette Latigue and I am your host here at Coaching You For You. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. I'm not going to keep you long. I just want to share something with you. A lot of times we look at people, places, and things and we think everything's all right, that people just got it going on and we're not doing what we need to do and we're not doing the best we can do. Actually, you are. You are enough. You are. And when you need help and the load is heavy, and sometimes it is, ask for help. Ask for help. When I was grieving, and at one of my lowest points, one of my very lowest points in the death of a family member, I was so used to carrying the weight and being able to carry the weight without question or doubt that it took me a long time to realize that I needed to outreach somebody. I needed help. And in asking for that help, one of the things that I came to understand and realize was that it was in my weakest moments that I was, in fact, my strongest because I recognized that I needed help. I was grieving and I wasn't able to carry that alone. And so I just want to tell you that
Welcome back.
it is important to understand we all need somebody sometime. And so, please don't forget that. Please remember that in everything you do, when you're doing your best, you are enough. And Paula Jones, shout out. Paula posts some really, great content, and Casey Moore too, that give me reason to pause and reflect. And one of the things Paula shared just recently was tough stuff my therapist told me. And so I'm going to share a few things with you tonight. When I was at my weakest and suffering the most, I reached out for help. I needed grief therapy to help me get through what I was going through. And I would wake up on a regular basis and think, the world's still going on. Don't people realize what I'm going through? I mean, doesn't anybody have a clue what's happening here? And one of the things she helped me understand, the tough stuff was, yeah, life's going to go on no matter what you're going through. And it took me a minute to get with that. It took me a minute to understand that because I was grieving so hard. And when I had, after being widowed, a failed relationship, I grieved that too. And I grieved it. See, grief comes in all forms. It's not just, it could be the death of a pet, the death of a family member, the death of a relationship, the death of a friendship, the death of things that you're familiar with. Could happen at any time. And grieving it helps us get through it. Grieving it helps us understand that we don't have to carry the weight of everything alone. We just don't. So, when and where you need help, get it. I did. It worked for me and brought me to another side. So, I told you about the grief. Let me tell you, in the past, I've told you about the bad relationship and how incredibly horrible it was. But even in that, I learned some things. Even in the grief, I learned some things. And even at a place of employment that I once worked, which shall remain nameless, it was extremely difficult because you'll find that when you, to whom much is given, much is required. And I'll leave it at that. It can be difficult. It can be extremely difficult in that people want you to solve everything, including the coming of Jesus. And rarely do they understand or accept that there's a process and a time and place for everything. And so, even in those difficult times, when I felt like my back was against the wall and I didn't have any support, I didn't have anybody I could talk to, excuse me, allergies. At least that's what I thought. that I didn't have anybody I could talk to. I didn't have anybody I could really trust. I didn't feel like there were many trustworthy people around me. I reached out to the same grief therapist and said, "Hey, what's going on here? I'm feeling as if I'm all alone. I'm feeling like I'm carrying this weight all by myself." And she said, "So, if that's the way you feel, share the weight." It was really just that simple. When we're going through things, when we're being challenged, when things hurt, when we don't understand, when we lose people we love, and every loss can be heavy. The difference is knowing when that loss is in your best interest. That's important. But when we're going through things, because it's not easy for any of us, it's not. This is life. Don't forget to hydrate. Watermelon water. Life can be challenging. People can be challenging. The places we're in can be challenging, like employment. Some of our circles can be challenging. And I want to tell you this: if your circle becomes challenging unreasonably on a regular basis and it's not doing anything to grow you or show you different things, get out that circle. Because in a winning circle, the conversation is way different. Shout out to Women Who Mean Business Association, WWNBA. In a winning circle, the conversation is different. And you'll learn things. You'll learn different things. And when I say the conversation is different, I'm talking about folks telling you how to build a business and the steps they took to do it. When I say the conversation is different in winning circles and there's nothing you have to do alone, you can share the weight in everything you do. In winning circles, they talk about that, sharing the weight, how to get through it, what it took for them, what worked and what didn't work. And remember, what doesn't apply, let it fly. Everything doesn't apply to everybody. But when you are experiencing difficulty, as you will, I don't care how bright you are, I don't care how you got it going on, I don't care how successful you appear to be, you will encounter challenging times. We all do. That's a fact. That's not just a thought, it's a fact. And don't trust me, do your homework. Everybody, sooner or later, if they live long enough, meets a challenge or two or three or many. When you do, and the weight gets heavy, just remember you don't have to do it alone. And in that, I want to shout out a new podcaster, Ask Medina. Check her out. She'll answer your questions. She has the answers, and she comes fully prepared and vetted in her craft to give you some great advice. Ask Medina. Find her on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, wherever successful people are. Medina's going to be there. And so, when you find yourself in a challenging situation, one of the questions that I ask Medina is when you have a family member or a friend and they're undiagnosed, because I'm not capable, how do you approach them? How do you broach the subject? How do you tell a friend, I think you're suffering some mental health issues and you might better be served, not necessarily by taking medication, but by getting help? Ask Medina. She's got what you need. And so you are enough. For whatever you're dealing with, you are enough. But when the weight gets heavy and the load bears down Ask for help. That's my message for you tonight. You are enough. We all go through changes. We all carry burdens. We all carry heavy loads. Some of us carry it better than others. And some of us have not yet mastered the art of sharing those loads. Share the load. You don't have to do it alone. Life is not meant to be experienced alone. Reach out to somebody, ask for help, do what you need to do to feel better. That's all a part of self care. And I always tell you, self care is not selfish, it's sanity. Go get your sanity. When the load gets heavy and it seems too much to bear, don't be afraid to ask for help. My name is Annette Latigue. I'm your host here at Coaching You For You. Thanks for joining us this evening. Take care of yourself.